Hello, Gr10. We're going to do some more string handling methods. So, extra ones here. Here's an input box method. It's actually a function. Why? Because they call it on the right hand side of your assignment statement. It has three parameters. The first parameter is a string, the second parameter is a string, and the third parameter is a string. And the input box itself returns a string. So you must memorize that. Now the three parameters, this is what the input box will look like. The first parameter will be the heading of your input box, and then the second parameter will be more information if you want to add it there. Otherwise you'll just keep the string empty if you don't want to put anything else over here. The third parameter is, in this case, is an empty string. You can put things in there, but we normally keep it empty and the person can type inside there. Then there'll be an OK button and they will click OK. And then the string that they type inside that little area there will be stored in this variable, in a variable, the string variable. Right, and then the second method that's new is called the Val Procedure. And it's a procedure because you don't have any assignment statement. It's just called Val. What it does is it validates a string to see if that string can be converted to an integer or a real number. In order to test if the string, like S-line, can be converted to an integer, you have three parameters. The first is the string that you want to test. The second parameter is an integer. If you want to try and see if this S-line can be converted to an integer, you put an integer variable there. You can make up any name you want. And the third parameter is I-code. You can also call it I, whatever you want to call that third parameter. I normally use inum and I-code, makes it easy to remember. So inum indicates that we're trying to convert S-line to an integer. And then if it can be converted, then I-code will be equal to 0. If it cannot be converted, then I-code will be the character number of the character that that caused the fault. In other words, if a letter A or an X or a space or any other character that's not a number, not an integer, if that is returned, then if that is found, then our code will have that character number. Our code will be that character number that caused the problem. And then if you want to try and see if a string can be converted to a real number, you just put R, a real number data type variable there, the second parameter, and our code works the same. It will be naught if the string cannot be converted to, if the string can be converted to a real number, and our code will be any other digit which causes the problem that stopped the string being converted to a real number. So this is how we can make sure that if people type something in an edit box and we want it to be either an integer or real number, then we can use val beforehand to make sure that the program doesn't crash. So we're going to use some of these now in this program, but before we do that, we're going to do some string handling here. This button click says display only the G in a capital letter in a sentence the box is green. Right, so the sentence is the box is green. We've got to find the G there and change it to capital G. So I'm going to make a string. Okay, I'm going to say VARS line, make a string variable, make it equal to the sentence that we want. Now we've got to find the position of the G. This is one way to do it. There are other ways, but we're going to do it the easy way. So here is an example of this. The box is green. So S line is equal to this long line. It's 16 characters. If we find out where the G is, which character number it is, then we can go and convert that to capital letters. In this case, S line character number 12 is G. And this is how you use square brackets to indicate a character number. So we're going to do it in code here. What we're going to do is we're going to say I pos, we're going to make an integer because we're going to get the pos of the G, make an integer variable and get the position of the G. Now remember when we use I pos, how do we do that? How we use pos is a function returns an integer, which will be the character number of a substring in a main string. So the substring comes first and then the main string is second in our parameter list. So this is how we usually say rpos. You've got to get an integer variable first. Then you say rpos equals pos. We want to find where's the g in sline. So this is because there's only one g. If there was a second g, if it was a g over here, it would disregard that one. Okay, it'll only find the first g. Pos finds the first position, the first instance of that substring. If there's another one further down the line, it doesn't worry about that. It only finds the first one. So in other words, if I had a g over here, it wouldn't, it will stop over there. There's the first g. Wouldn't worry about those there at all, unless you went and deleted it. But we've got the position of the g, so all we have to do is say sline square brackets rpos will be equal to, so the character number of sline, character number rpos of sline will be equal to an upcase sline square brackets rpos. So what is that line saying? We are isolating the character number, which represents a g. In this case, it's going to be character number 12. Okay, so this one's going to be sline character number 12 will be equal to upcase sline character number 12. Now let's go and display that. Display sline so we can see that it actually works. Or not. Oops. Methods. There we go. There it works. Yay. So, what did we do? We just upcased a particular character. If you wanted to upcase character number 4, then you would say upcase character number 4 is, sline character number 4 is upcase sline character number 4. But in this for this instance, we're using rpos because that is the position of the g. The character number of the letter g in the box is green. Now we're going to move on to the next one. Test whether or not 24a represents a valid integer and display the results. So here we have val. So remember I said you had to have two variables, rnum and rcode. You've got to declare them first. And then we're going to do val. You just write val, then what's the string going to be? Let's have a look. What is our string? It's 24a, so inverted commas 24a, and then you just say comma rnum, comma rcode. Now I'm going to introduce you to if statements, but it's very easy. You won't have a problem with it because it's very English. I mean, it's language. It's like, so we've got our val procedure. We've got to go and check to see if rcode equals 0. If rcode equals 0, then we can show a message. We can say if rcode is not equal to 0, we'll show a message. So if it's not equal to 0, then we know the string cannot be converted because of character number, and join that to int to string rcode. So what are we doing? You're displaying rcode. We could also say, okay, it's character number rcode. If this was a string dot, if we had 24a as an actual string, so I could say, yeah, okay, let's say sline string, and then I'll go and say sline equals 24a, and then I go and put in here, instead of 24a, I go and put in S line. Then I can actually go and put it in S line character number R code. Because why we want to see what is it, which is. Now that is going to display the letter A. It's character number 3, and this S line character number 3. Our code is 3. It's going to return the number 3. Okay. So yeah, if our code is not equal to naught, you know. So if our code is equal to naught, then we're fine. So we can say else, let's get rid of that semicolon, else show message all good okay. Let's see what's happening. Remember I said our code is now going to be 3 because that's defending me. That letter A is stopping us from converting S line to an integer. That's why I've got INUM there, because I'm trying to convert to an integer. Let's see what happens. The string cannot be converted because of character number 3, which is A. See? Done. And this else part means if it can be converted, then we say all good. What if we used an input box with this? What if we said S line equals input box? Input box, enter a number, and there I'm not going to put anything else in. So now we're using the input box as well. So that was a string function, remember, with 3 string parameters. Let's see what it looks like. S line is now it's going to give us the option to enter a number. So we click the button. You see there's your input box. And now if I put in 24, 5 and a T by mistake, I type that, or even if I type a space, it's going to give an error. Character number 4, which is, you know, it's nothing, it's a space. But if I type the right number, click OK, and it says all good. What if I type a decimal point number? Okay, there's a decimal point. So click OK. Nope. Doesn't like the decimal point because we're trying to convert to an integer. Right, so let's go and see how this works with a real number. So we're going to go to the button here, test whether or not this number represents a valid real number, and display the result. So just to save time, I'm copying and pasting. Okay. Make sure I'm copying and pasting into the right place. Right now, because I'm trying to test if it's a real number, I've got to have rnum, a real data type there, and then I've got to put rnum over here. Okay, see the difference there? And then I've got enter a number, I've got the same code and everything, and it's the same code, everything's all the same. All I did was replace rnum with rnum. Okay, so run the program, and then I'm going to click on methods, and then I'm going to click over here, test whether or not the string represents a real number. Now we're going to put in 24.43 and it will be fine even with the decimal point. Now what if I put in 24G? Okay, it's an integer, but it says character number 3. Yep, that's not going to work. See, it doesn't matter if it's an integer. 24.654. And I'm going to put an S at the end. Okay, so now it's saying character number 8, which is S. Okay, so you see that now you know how to do the Val procedure, and you have to do the activity now, 4 marks.